Daniel Hart, a 41-year-old high school history teacher from Denver, always believed he had more time. Time to chase dreams, repair strained friendships, maybe even fall in love again after his divorce. But life doesn't wait. One winter afternoon, after collapsing in the hallway between classes, Daniel awoke in a hospital bed to faces that didn't know how to deliver hope. The diagnosis was fast, brutal, and suffocating. A rare neurodegenerative condition. No cure, no long-term survival. The lead specialist spoke softly. "Mr. Hart, you may have weeks. Maybe days." Daniel stared at the ceiling tiles, counting them because counting was easier than accepting this death sentence. But then on the doorway, a nurse he'd never seen before leaned in. She whispered, almost too quietly for anyone else to hear, "Ask for Dr. Selena Cross." Daniel frowned. Who? But the nurse was already gone. He asked the doctors about Dr. Cross. None of them would answer directly. Some avoided eye contact. Some muttered, "She doesn't take cases anymore." Another said her research. Controversial. The mystery stirred something inside Daniel, the first spark of fight he'd felt since the diagnosis, so he began searching. Through his medical portal, through old academic journals, through whispered questions to younger nurses in the hall. And he finally found it. Dr. Selena Cross, once the country's leading neuroscientist, specializing in experimental neuro-regeneration, but 2 years ago, after a patient trial went wrong and a board suspended her, she disappeared from public medicine. No address, no office, just rumors. But Daniel had nothing left to lose. 2 days later, Daniel signed himself out of the hospital against medical orders. He could barely stand, but determination fueled him. He followed scattered clues. A retired lab assistant in Boulder, a former research partner in Aspen, a community clinic roomer in a tiny mountain town. Finally, he found Elida, caretaker at a remote lodge. "She's here sometimes," the man whispered. "Doesn't trust hospitals anymore." That night, with snow thick on the roads, Daniel waited near the old trailhead outside the lodge, hoping the nurse's whisper wasn't just a cruel fantasy. Just before midnight, a small SUV pulled up. A woman stepped out, dark coat, backpacked, eyes sharp and wary. "Dr. Cross?" He called out, voice trembling. She froze. "How did you find me?" Daniel staggered toward her, nearly collapsing. She rushed forward, catching him by the arm. "Please," he begged. "I was told you're my only chance." Her expression shifted from suspicion to recognition. "I remember you," she murmured. "You wrote me once, years ago. A letter you never sent. I read it when you applied for a medical trial." Daniel blinked. He had forgotten about that. "You admired my research," she said. "Said I inspired you to keep teaching, even when it felt pointless." She sighed. "You shouldn't have come here." Inside the warm lodge, Dr. Cross examined him with tools pulled from a worn leather bag. Her face grew grave. "You had the same condition my patient had, the one who died. It's the one that got my license suspended." She turned away. "I won't risk another life." Daniel swallowed hard. "You won't risk your reputation." "That's different." The words cut deeper than he expected, but they made her spin around. "You think I care about that?" she snapped. "I left the system because they only care about protecting themselves. The trial I created worked at restored neural pathways. But it was too powerful, too fast, and the board shut me down." She hesitated. "But your progression is slower. Your window is small, but possible." Daniel's heartbeat quickened. "So you can save me?" "No," she said. "But I can try something the world rejected." For hours they debated ethics, risks, legality. In the end, Daniel gave the simplest answer. "If I do nothing, I die. If I try, maybe I don't. Please, I'm not afraid." Dr. Cross closed her eyes. "You understand this could fail?" "Yes, it could hurt." "I already hurt. And if it works," she whispered, "you'll be the only living proof my research wasn't madness." Daniel nodded. "Let me be proof." In a hidden lab behind the lodge once, a storage room, she prepared the treatment. A nanofluid injection designed to rebuild neural connections at rapid speed. No machines, no hospital, just a brilliant scientist and a dying man. The moment she injected it, Daniel screamed, not in pain, but in shock. Light, heat, electric pulses racing through him like wildfire. then darkness. Hours passed, maybe days. When Daniel finally woke, he could breathe fully, move his hands without trembling, think without fog. Dr. Cross sat beside him, tears streaking her face. "It worked," she whispered. "Daniel." It worked. He tried to sit up, and she steadied him. "You're not cured," she said softly, "but you just gained years, not days." His chest tightened with gratitude. "He gave me time." She laughed weakly. "You gave me redemption?" Word eventually spread, not from Daniel, not from Dr. Cross, from the nurse who whispered her name, the same nurse who lost a family member to the disease and refused to let the world forget Selena Cross existed. When medical boards demanded answers, Daniel stood before them not as a victim, but as proof. "Dr. Cross didn't break the rules," he said. "She broke the limits of what we thought was possible. They reinstated her license, funded her research, and within years, her treatment became a medical revolution." Daniel went back to teaching, back to life, back to hope. Every year on the anniversary of his treatment, he visited Dr. Cross not as a patient, but as a friend. "You didn't just save me," he told her once. "You saved every day I get to live." She smiled. "No," she said. "You saved yourself. I just gave you the chance, and sometimes one name, one whisper, one lead, is all it takes to rewrite a destiny."